So the story I'm about to tell you guys is a story that happened to me and my friend Justin not too long ago, probably about a year ago, when we wanted to play Hoax on our town and try to get this TV show to our town to film there. And what we did was, we bought this gorilla suit, and and Justin's probably about maybe 6'2", 6'3", or something like that. He's a pretty tall guy, and we got this gorilla suit, and he put it on, and we have also stuffed it a bit to make him a little bit bigger than he was, because he's a scrawny guy, so we put some padding in there to make it look a little bit bigger, filled out the costume, so it didn't really look loose. But it looked really nice when he was wearing it, so it looked kind of convincing, especially if you were from really far away. And he practiced the movement of Bigfoot, and in that one famous Bigfoot video, he got that down to almost to a cue. And I was like, we could probably pull this off. Maybe if we get the right angle, and the right lighting and stuff, maybe we could probably make this video really work. And what we also did was, we made these casts for our feet and blew them up. And we thought, hey, maybe we can, use these as well to make fake footprints or something like that. And then he made a comment saying, what we should do is wear these on our hands, because he mentioned something about a mid-torsal break or something that apparently this Bigfoot had. So we wore them on our hands instead, and Justin can walk on his on his hands. So we thought maybe that'd be kind of cool if he put his feet up, did some walking on his hands or something like that to make it look like the mid-tarsal break in the foot or something like that. So that's what he did. So we got everything planned, ready for that very weekend, and when that weekend came, we got everything packed in the Jeep, and we drove up to the national park where a Bigfoot sighting has been reported about maybe 10 years ago. And so the first night we got up there, because what we wanted to do was, on Sunday night we'd make the camp, get everything ready to go, and then on Saturday morning we would film, and then Saturday morning or Monday morning we would leave and go back home and report our sighting. So that night we made up our camp and started making our food. We had the tents up, and we started hearing this weird sound, like someone was banging like wood against a tree. And we thought, this is kind of weird, because something like this shouldn't be happening in the woods, especially this far out, because no one is around. And we came to the conclusion maybe we were both imagining the same sound at the same time, because it was pretty much impossible that we would hear something like this. And during that night, we couldn't really go to sleep after hearing that. We started hearing weird sounds in the bushes next to our camp, probably about 50 yards away, of something walking around. And it was just kind of weird, because there are bears and deer and stuff out there, so that's probably what we thought maybe it was. Maybe if it was a bear, we would have been screwed, because we had no weapons, no nothing. And we stayed up pretty much all night, hoping whatever this was wouldn't attack our tent or anything like that. And what happened was that the sounds of the bushes started dissipating over time as the animal was going farther away. And roughly when first light approached, we went and looked at where this thing might have walked, and there was this big, huge trail type thing of broken bushes leading to this thing. And it was kind of weird, and hey, maybe this was a bear, and what we should do is film this and maybe pretend this was like a Bigfoot thing walking towards somewhere, and we're following it. So what we did was, we got the camera and followed this path, and because we were thinking maybe by the time we get to the end of this, maybe the animal's pretty much gone. So what we did was, we followed this path, and it came to this big, huge open area. And I thought to myself, hey, Justin, this is the perfect area where we could probably get you into the costume and film you maybe walking maybe farther back. And Justin said, yeah, this is probably the perfect area. Why not just do this now? So he got into this costume, and he walked a little ways, and then I would double back and walk again after maybe some editing through some editing software. And what I was doing when I'm walking, and I look up, and I got Justin in the shot, and we're like, perfect, we got it. And what we saw on that footage when we looked over it again was this weird looking shadow of a black figure on the one corner of the video, and Justin was looking at it like, I didn't see that when I was walking past there, and like I didn't see it either. And further into the video, we thought we caught an actual, maybe a bear or an actual Bigfoot on this camera, and you can clearly see Justin in the one frame as well as this dark figure. And this figure is probably about 50 yards from Justin while he was walking, and I caught it on camera, and it was just kind of creepy. Like maybe it was his shadow, or maybe it was maybe a bush making the a figure of a man or something like that. So like this is probably what it was, and maybe if it was convincing enough, maybe we could probably say it was 2 Bigfoots instead of 1. So hey, we got it, we got the footage, and we started walking back to camp, and our tent was completely destroyed. Our entire whole entire camp was just completely destroyed, and we're like, this was most likely a bear, or maybe something came to our camp. So we decided to pack everything up and just sleep in the Jeep. So what we did was we put everything up in the front, and we laid the seats back, and we slept in the Jeep. And we hear this weird noise, but right before we went to sleep, and Justin had the recorder. And hopefully at the end of this video, I will play what we heard, because this sound is a sound that pretty much haunts my memory every time I go out in the woods. I have not been in the woods ever since after hearing that sound, and Justin never goes out there again. He left the costume out in the woods where he took it off from, and our tapes that we recorded were actually damaged somehow. I don't know how they were damaged, but they were damaged. So that's my story, and this is what we heard.